Okay, so I'm back with another video. It's been a while. I'm aware that there is sun shining on my face. I tried to fix that, but I like the sunlight, so that's why I'm keeping it. But I'm going to get to the video. So there is a serious issue that we need to talk about, and that is that of the crazy, ridiculous right-wing echo chamber that we have in Canada. And so there's a few people I want to talk about. First one is Claypool. So you guys probably know this guy. He runs this thing called the National Telegraph, which is basically, I mean, he calls it a news agency or whatever. It's not. It's in many senses, it's an opinion based columnist channel slash columnist journal. He's not a true journalist, by the way. He doesn't have journalist credentials. And if you look him up, by the way, we'll just look him up really quickly, who he is. So he tried to run for Calgary Signal Hill, okay? And he ended up losing the nomination very badly. And so, you know, he has a picture of him and Ben Shapiro on his on his website, which is I don't know what the point of that is exactly. I don't know why he has a picture of Ben Shapiro and why that's his main one. But anyways, he ended up losing very badly, so he didn't even get the nomination for the Conservative Party. Now, keep in mind, he's a young guy, you know, he has a future ahead. I just don't know why he makes these videos. So he makes this video, Canada's left thinks it's democracy only when they win. And I'm not going to watch too much of it. I don't think it's necessary. I did watch some of it on my own time. I'd start at the top, just for you guys. But nonetheless, I just want to read through some of the comments and some of the people, some of his very educated, informed viewers in his comment section. I'm from Ontario. I'm with Alberta 100%. I would rather be Maple Mega. Oh, okay, Maple Mega. You want to say Maple Mega. Okay, he wants to say Maple Mega. He said Mega. Then be a lunatic left Maple Marxist. That's a new one. I've never heard that one. Personally believe Polyev won. So let's see what is driving these people to say these things. Is it the video? Is it their own beliefs? Let's take a look. Okay, and the audio doesn't want to work.
Hey guys, Wyatt Claypool here. What you'll notice over time in Canada with the Liberals and the online left in general is they only consider it democracy when they win. If they get the most votes in election, then the popular will triumphed. And if they don't get the most votes, then the popular will was somehow subverted because, of course, whatever position they represent is the popular one. And if they lose an election, it's not because they don't actually have the most popular position. It means somehow people were disenfranchised or the thing that should happen didn't happen. This is actually the subject of my most popular video on the channel. I talked about a plebiscite that took place in the small town of Westlock, Alberta, that the left freaked out about because basically citizens of the town just voted so that they would make the public flagpoles only fly the town's flag, the Alberta flag, Canada's flag, and the Union Jack, and they would take down all the activist stuff. You can't fly the Pride Progress flag literally all year long. And this is a town that frequently elects progressives, but the townsfolk got a little bit annoyed with all the crosswalks and flags all the time, so they voted in a plebiscite to go back to pure neutrality. The left didn't like this, and they actually sent rainbow lawn signs to the town to scatter them everywhere to basically thumb their nose at people who just said, how about we just go back to Westlock being Westlock and not being a banner for whatever activist sort of trend you have going on now. It was the voters politely saying, let's just go back to Westlock being Westlock. It doesn't need to be like a downtown. It doesn't need to be downtown Portland over here. And the people got really mad at it, pretending like democracy had been subverted in favor of the evil fascist far right or whatever. It was very stupid. Now I need to get to another version of this going on right now.
Okay. So before we continue on with that, that gives you a main idea of who he is. You know, obviously didn't have much of substance there as we can tell. He didn't really point out anything brand new there. But then again, the title is quite scathing. And so it does raise the question, what exactly is he referring to? And we're going to watch it really quickly. I don't want to watch the entire video with you guys. It's going to take way too long. I'm not going to react to the entire thing. I'm just going to talk about the main things that he brings up. Let's see if...
we pretty much take it all. Fridges.
We have an ad. That sucks. Anyways, let's continue here. So he's going to react to this. Let's watch.
A recount and who wants to actually change the rules of the recount. The outgoing Liberal MP from the riding of Windsor Tecumseh Lakeshore The CTV News article headline says ballots should not have been rejected. Windsor judge orders recount of election results. If this was a conservative candidate wanting this recount, if they had only lost by 240 votes, Laura Babcock and Sherry DeNovo presumably would be calling him a fascist, or that he's an election denier, or he's trying to subvert democracy. Because in fact, he actually technically wants them to subvert the rules of Elections Canada in order to count more ballots for him. What he wants them to do is take ballots with multiple marks on them, but if you really squint, you could say they maybe were trying to vote Liberal and count those. The problem with doing that, and I will link the article below so you can see that this is the argument they're making. The problem with doing this, it doesn't matter if you put an X next to someone's name and you put a check somewhere else, and you can kind of tell what they're trying to do, you're still not supposed to count it. Voting is very simple, and the problem is in every other riding around Canada, they follow the procedure that you mark the person you want, and if you put any more marks down, then that is not a vote that we can count. You have to mark who you're going to mark, and that's it. If the pencil line goes a little bit from one dot to the next dot, but it's obviously in this one, yeah, that's fair. But if you do like X over here, and then check over here, we're not counting it. And that is what the Liberal candidate, the outgoing Liberal MP in Windsor-Tecumseh Lakeshore, wants Elections Canada to do, which does require the Conservatives to have good legal representation in all these ridings, to point to election law, the Elections Act, and say you cannot do that. You cannot just fix every single ballot based on where your heart believes this person was trying to vote. The whole
Okay, we get the main idea. You know what he's trying to say, to put it simply? He's trying to say that the Liberals who lost in that riding, presumably, that the one that he's referring to, the Windsor one, he's essentially saying that the Liberals are trying to contest something that isn't really there. That's basically what he's trying to say. And that will cost a lot for the Conservatives. And, in some way, that is them thinking that it's not really democracy because somehow or some way, this check mark wasn't there or whatever. In essence, what he's saying is that the Liberals are undermining democracy, and that is false. Now, I'm not here to defend either party. I'm just here to say you could challenge as many elections as you want. If it's below 0.1 threshold, if it's below a 0.1% threshold, you must recount, okay? And you could challenge it if it is within that threshold. And so what he's saying is that, because they challenged it, that's essentially an issue. That's ridiculous. Because what we have here, and this is the bigger issue, Wyatt, and I don't blame him per se directly, but his audience is crazy. It's insane. I mean, it's ridiculous. And, the argument that he's trying to convey, it is sort of like ridiculous as well, to some extent. And it does fuel the fire. And you can look at his other content too. If we just take a look at his other videos, he does say some ridiculous things. Carney spends $33 billion without Parliament authorization. Western separatism gains record support. Smith in a tight spot. Like, this is not true. This is not true. It's not record support. I mean, it's not. CBC exposed hit piece on Premier Smith while cheerleading Carney. Like, and again, hack reporter is the big thing. So it's just a bit ridiculous. I don't think it's really. It's definitely very dangerous for our democracy. But he is clearly saying things that are false. I mean, the narrative that he's trying to push is ridiculous. It's grounded in nothing. It's grounded in nothing. You are allowed to contest a vote, okay? And, the whole argument that he made with the dots or whatever, yes, he is correct about most of it. You can't cross off one candidate and then cross off another and be like, oh, no, I actually meant to put, like, let's say you cross off the Liberal and let's say you cross off the Conservative. You can't be like, oh, yeah, no, I actually meant to cross off the Conservative. You can't do that. That is true. But let's say you cross off the Conservative and you do it lightly or you do it smallly or you cross it off completely, like you scribble it, and then you cross off the Liberal one, that one is technically that one is technically eligible to be counted. The way that it works for the election is it's all about the human, okay? The human is allowed to make the decisions, human decision at the end of the day. And it's all, obviously you do the recounts or whatever, that's a different story, but when you're actually counting on election day, as far as I'm aware, because I know how the system works, you are allowed to count it if a person clearly scribbles out their other vote and they have a clear spot that they're voting for. Now, obviously, if it's two crosses, then yes, that can't count. But the point that he's trying to make is sort of ridiculous. And then the other thing that he's trying to make, the other point that he's trying to make in terms of liberals being, you know, hypocritical or whatever is ridiculous. Then we have this guy, the pleb reporter, who is absolutely ridiculous as well. I mean, he says some crazy things. And if we take a look at his Twitter, sorry about that. We just take a look at his Twitter right here. Yeah, I'll show you here. The liberal leadership race was 100% rigged. The election was not. Congrats to liberals for winning an election through mentally terrorizing your citizens yet again. And by the way, this guy commented on one of my videos way back when, a few months ago. I don't really care much about that, to be honest with you, but thank you for the comment nonetheless. Once the boomers die off, you're toast, though. Our youth are moving to the right. The future is bright for Canada. I mean, yes, there was youth movement towards the right in this election. Is that a general trend? We just don't know. We just don't know. It's one election cycle. We just don't know if it is one single election or if it's an actual trend. You can't establish a trend after one single election. So again, that's a blank statement. And then again, the future is bright for Canada. You lost, technically. He's a conservative, by the way. And then again, he always says this. He says it with so much certainty, and nobody wants a bad night towards it. The liberal leadership race was 100% rigged. So where is he getting that information from? How is it rigged? I'm not, you know, endorsing any particular candidate, but I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know how it's rigged. No evidence, no nothing. No sort of suggestion of why it may be rigged. So, again, very hard to believe in there. And then we have this one again. I mean, this is another ridiculous one. Damien Couric has agreed to resign his seat and let Pierre Poilievre in his writing. I can't begin to describe how incredibly moving this is. Damien was going to qualify for his pension 6 months and decided to put his country ahead of his financial game. This man is a hero. I don't know if, I mean, a hero is it's a very strong word. What about the people that saved that helped with the wildfires in Canada? Or the people that helped, you know, with a bunch of other things for our country? People who served for our military, the people who served in World War II, the people who did a bunch of great things for this country, who build up our country, the people who transport goods from border to border. Like, there's so many different people that I would call heroes in many ways. Healthcare professionals in many respects. But because he resigned for a potential favor in the future, he's a hero? Again, I think we need to be more careful, pleb, or whatever his name is. The pleb, I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. But anyways, you guys get what I'm trying to say with this guy. Pierre Poilievre crowd says proof the polls are fake. The polls are fake. Yeah, so that was a month ago, and guess what happened since then? He lost the election. Okay, he lost the election. So yeah, and then again, Pierre Poilievre takes the lead back in the polls. And then Pierre Poilievre debate masterclass just won in the election. So keep in mind, by the way, and this is an interesting thing, he hasn't posted since they lost the election. So I don't know if that's like I don't know what's going on with that, but it's interesting to note that for sure. That he hasn't posted since they lost the election. And again, like, liberal boomer goes mega viral and pisses off the entire Liberal Party. And it's like, he just lost Carney the election. It's like, what are you talking about? And so it's just a man with middle fingers or something. So immature, so uninformed. Frankly, this is content that is not helping anybody. It's not informative. And the audience is ridiculous. I mean, I have this video from Dan Freeman. And Dan Freeman, look, he's a nice guy. He debated me. Okay, he was nice for that. And I appreciate it very much. He's a very strong debater, very strong speaker. He's a smart guy too, obviously. I'm not blaming him necessarily here, because this is a fact. Almost 40% of Albertans want out of Canada. Yes, he is citing a CTV report, and I have seen the report myself. I can try to cite it if you guys want in the comment section or whatever, in the description. But I just want to read some of these comments again, and these are the people that are following him. And so what happens is, this is the overall issue that I'm trying to address. The overall issue that I'm trying to address is that it creates an echo chamber. Okay, an echo chamber where information is just being thrown at you. Okay, thrown at everyone. Everything's available. Nothing's being filtered. Nothing's being thought of critically. You know, you look at something and you take it at face value because it suits your narrative. I'm Alberta, and my family and my friends, including myself, will be voting for separation from Canada 100%. Okay. it's just ridiculous. I don't know, like, I can read through all of these, but it's not really necessary. So the point I'm trying to make is, guys, don't watch these guys, first of all. Don't do this. And most importantly, don't comment these things. These are just ridiculous comments. I mean, they're not true. Not a single one of the things that I covered, except for maybe this, statement. I would say this is a statement in most respects. I don't know why you put a question mark. It's a statement. This statement is the only one that is slightly correct, because it is still, actually, no, it is correct. It is about almost 40%. It's 36%, according to the poll. But all these guys, these are not journalists, okay? These are not journalists. Why Claypool isn't a journalist. And I love how they do this. I mean, they say the National Telegraph, like it's a real, journalist, like he's a real journalist, I should say. And then we have Pleb Reporter. He's a real news reporter. Not really. He's more so an activist in many respects. He goes to these rallies and whatever and gets front tickets and whatnot. So that's interesting again. And then Dan Freeman is a nice guy. And I appreciate that he debated me, by the way. But I don't understand. And he's made a lot of videos on Alberta recently. I don't know why he's doing this. Dan, please, I don't know why you're doing this. You live in Ontario, so there's really no need to fuel the fire. I mean, this Alberta separatism movement, I'm going to be making a video on this separately. I don't think it's as big of a deal as people are saying. It's not going to happen. Alberta's never going to separate. Alberta is part of Canada. It's never going to become part of the states. It's never going to become an independent province or whatever state or entity or whatever. It's always going to be part of Canada. Okay, sorry, but it's always going to be part of Canada. So to all the people that don't like Canada, who live in Alberta, well, it's not going to happen. You're not going to leave the country. So we have this, by the way, and I do want to cover this. So Mark Carney is actually making history in many respects. And so we have the first indication of this through his approval rating that has just been reported. And so this is the newest numbers. This is the newest number that we have, actually. I don't know when it was published exactly. It just says 2025, so I'm just going to... I did see another thing that corroborated this. I don't have it right here. I'm going to see if I can try to pull it up another time. But he is at 54%. This is according to Wikipedia. And, a lot of people have their doubts about Wikipedia. I mean, I tend to... You obviously have to look at it critically, but Wikipedia is pretty accurate most of their information. They do have some accurate approval ratings here. I know this guy, Daniel Noboa, is at around this percentage. Don't ask me why. I know why the president of Ecuador said that. I just know it for some reason. I was looking at him at his approval ratings a while back. Javier Milei, too, I know that he's at 46%. Trump, 49%. So this all makes sense in the grand scheme of things. And so the reason why I say he's making history is because he is actually amongst the top 10. Technically, I guess, ninth, yeah. Yeah, he's about ninth now. He's the 9th highest approval rating in Canadian history. That's pretty shocking. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. And so to all the people, and I did see another comment the other day saying, oh, Mark Carney's approval rating is going to plunge right after the election. It clearly has not plunged. And in fact, it's actually gone up higher than it did before the election. So he has made history. Don't watch these guys. Don't fall for it. I mean, this is all opinions, and these aren't facts. I mean, come on, guys. We can't be watching this. And this is a very serious danger. We can't be watching this stuff. If you want to watch real content, you should watch my channel, because I cover things objectively. I don't have any opinions on things that I'm trying to spread to you guys so that you guys can form your own narrative that pushes my narrative as well at the same time. I don't do that. I just show you guys what they're saying, and I tell you if they're saying something that's wrong. Because the fact of the matter is, the problem that we have right now, we actually have election deniers in Canada, believe it or not. We have people who are self-proclaimed Maple MAGAs. I'm not going to say who exactly that is. It's one of the people that I covered in this video, one of the creators that I covered in this video, who has in his Twitter account Maple MAGA and MAHA, which means Make America Healthy Again or whatever. So yeah, we have to stop this. We have to stop this. Don't watch these guys. Watch me. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.